Quick Snap is presented by FWM, dependable solutions for the pros since 1866.
Hoy, it feels good, don't it?
Woo, man.
Sitting here, hosting a divisional round, coming off an AFC wildcard win, it feels like the world is healing, especially here in New England, maybe. I don't know. All is right. Again, we're competing for a championship, boy.
Yeah, it was incredible. I got a chance to be there and feel the atmosphere. I think that was the biggest thing. You know, for us as players, we've been in those moments. And I think when we were in that era, I think it was always expected, right? And I think there's been these years where there's been that gap. So there was almost this excitement in the air, and you could feel it. And you could feel the energy that the fans were bringing. You could feel the energy that the players were bringing. And, man, I don't know if I've ever felt that stadium rocking the way it did when Hunter Henry catches that touchdown pass in the fourth quarter. I mean, I was up in one of those suites and the glass was shaking. So it goes to show how ready the fan base has been for this moment. And it was a tough game. Look, it was not easy by any means. The offense, look, when I watched the film, it wasn't really a struggle. There was a few plays that really set them back. Yeah. But they came out in the second half. Drake played really good. The defense was lights out, phenomenal the entire night. I mean, at one point, I'm looking up and I'm like, Herbert hasn't even thrown for 100 yards. Yeah. They were blitzing all over the place. So kudos to Zach Kuhr and that defensive coaching staff to come up with that plan, and then the players to go out and execute it.
Yeah, I think really, obviously Drake didn't play his best game. He talked about it in the post-game conference. Yep. But to me, I thought it was important for this team to win a game like that. And for Drake to be able to be a part of a game where it's like, hey, I didn't have to be Superman.
Yep.
I didn't have to do anything, special. When the play was there, I made it to put ourselves in position to win with the Hunter touchdown. And I think he also knows those are plays where the strip sack, the fumble, the that stuff that will get you beat. But I think for him, that belief, that trust, the confidence, not that he didn't have it, but just somewhere in your human nature, like you haven't seen it yet, but your defense went out there and basically won you a game, And to me, I think that was important. It's important for this team, I think, carrying forward, because it's going to be messy at times and it's going to be dirty. And sure, sometimes you're not going to score 28 points and everybody's getting touchdowns. But to win a game like this, I think it was really important for the team.
Yeah, and look, the guy still produced over 320 yards of offense on his own by throwing and running. And so it was a unique game, right? I thought they had a good game plan for the Patriots. And look, when I look at the interception, it's a tip ball. As a quarterback, selfishly haven't been in that, Bill would always be like, well, you can't throw it through them. And we would go to those 7-on-7 drills. They'd have those paddles up there. You'd have to throw it around. But that's happening like this. And so that was an unfortunate event, but it didn't really hurt them because the defense holds, right? And then the thing to me was the strip sacks, and that's something that has plagued him in the past. And there's got to be a moment where you feel someone wrapping around you, you're going to throw the football, and he's big and strong, and so he feels like he can do it. But take a sack, move on. And I think he has realized that. Maybe this happening right now will kind of reset him going forward and say, look, it's just not worth it to give the ball up when I'm in chaos. I'm trying to make that throw. But his legs paid off huge. I saw you tweeted it out, cover 5, and what we've said, it's 2-man against Drake Maye. It's suicide because now he understands, too, when he sees that look and recognizes it's 2-man. If he sees a lane, that's a 20 to 30-yard run that he's just going to rip off, and that's an explosive play. And so we knew it was going to take their best, and it wasn't always at their best, but when they needed it most, he was. And he made some big throws, whether it was to Booty, Williams, obviously Hunter. So to me, it was almost good to win that first playoff game. This is their first playoff game together as this unit, his first playoff game, and realize, like you said, I didn't have my best. What's it going to be next week when I can come back out here and try to put my best foot forward? And they're going to need it because they're going to play this Texans defense. It's not going to get any easier.
Yeah, and I think the big thing is the first strip sack, obviously, you're giving up points.
Yes.
You're in field goal range. Now, I know the kick's not a given, but you're in field goal range. You take the sack, kick the field goal, points. And then the next one, they got the ball back, and so it ended up being what it would have been, a sack punt. But, it's not what it was, what it could have been,
That's right.
And, yeah, I think really we saw him being very decisive at a lot of times, which I love. Decisive, taking off with the ball. There's a couple boots. Not there. I can get an easy 8-9 yards. Boom, take it. The 2-minute drive before the end of the half. Boom, take a 30-yard gain, get you down there in field goal range. And really, to me, Ramondre has come on so huge for this team. I thought he ran the ball great. Look, I know they didn't have 200 yards rushing, but Ramondre averaged 5.3 a carry. He was your leading receiver, which I would say you don't always expect it, but when you're playing a zone-heavy team, your running back's going to be
and I
huge.
thought Drake did a good job of when they dropped back and they took things away, he got it to Mondre. I mean, obviously, the one explosive pass play backed up. Now, we don't want to hold the ball in quick game, but Drake alerts to the right play. We see the safeties blitzing. Yep. The way that coverage kind of gets played behind it is probably not what he expected, so he quickly gets to Mondre over the ball, and Mondre does the rest of the work. And so it just goes to show, I mean, it seems like that was ages ago. We sat in here and were like, man, Mondre's from on the football. Like, how are they going to deal with this? They stood behind him, and now in the biggest moments, he's showing up when they need him the most.
Yeah, which was huge. And look, I think you got into it a little bit there, but the defense. The defense is huge. And so now it's time for our FW Web dependable players and coaches of the game. At FW Web, people and relationships come first, and you can always depend on FW Web to find the right products and solutions for your next project. And this week, the Patriots counted on this defense to bring home the win. I loved watching the defensive. I mean,
Look at that.
And what's interesting to me, right, the sacks is one thing because we knew their O-line was beat up. Third down.
Yep.
The Chargers were third in the NFL on third down.
At 45%.
And you go out there and dominate them. Also, the red zone's huge.
Yep.
No points in the red zone. I loved and to me, it's kind of a microcosm. Is that the word?
Yeah, microcosm. Good job.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah, George.
Right there, the goal line stand after the pick. Because
talk about complimentary football.
Yeah, they go third down, P coverage, which is hard to do in the low red area for the quarterback, right? You got 8 dropping.
What's P coverage?
P coverage only means 3 guys are rushing, 8 are dropping. And that's hard to do when you're on the 3-yard line.
Yes.
There's not a lot of space. And Marcus Jones comes up, makes a great tackle on Herbert, which is obviously a big dude.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about that. And then the next play, fourth down, you go blitz 0. To me, that's what I love to see. There was just so much variety in the defense. Yeah. You had Carlton Davis blitz, who almost had a strip sack. Marcus Jones blitz. Woodson blitz. The linebackers blitz. The fronts were changed. They ran games. It was just that old school we used to talk about, spin the wheel, and you never knew what was coming.
No, I thought it was a phenomenal game plan, and obviously that's half the battle, right? Then the guys got to go out and execute it. So shout out to Zach Core, all of that defensive staff for coming up with that plan. Herbert is a great passer. He might not have the best protection, but he can throw the football, and so I think they changed it up on him constantly. There's blitz 0, there's coverage, there's zone, there's man, and they were applying pressure in a lot of different ways. I think during the season, and I don't want to get these numbers wrong, and I'll have Danny try to double check that. I think the blitz percentage for the Patriots was like somewhere between 25 and 30%. I think in this game it was almost 45%. Yeah. So they clearly came in with a mentality of we're going to get after the quarterback and have to do it a lot of different ways. And I think those are the things we talk about. If you could do something a little bit different at this time of year, if you have a tendency and you can break it at this time of year, that could be the difference. So I thought just the plan and the execution of the plan, because you still got to go out and do it. And putting yourself in those situations, if they could pick some of that up, you can leave yourself vulnerable, which they really didn't do. And I thought probably one of the coolest moments now that we've seen some of the mic'd up is right before that fourth down play. Vrabel, hey, go end this game.
And to me what's interesting, or what I love to see about it, P coverage again, so they were dropping 8, 3-man rush. You don't think in P coverage you're going to get a lot of rush. No. Who is it? Milton Williams, your biggest signing.
Yep.
The guy you need to depend on, game wrecker, just wouldn't be denied, dominates the center, gets the sack. So, to me, it was a great way to tie a bow on that defensive performance.
Dude, I felt bad for Herbert out there. Man, he was getting demolished.
Yeah. I want to thank our partners at FW Web. On jobs large and small across 16 disciplines, FW Web has the selection, in-stock inventory, expertise, solutions, and people to get the job done right. For more than 150 years, FW Web has been the trusted partners for professionals across the Northeast, delivering what you need, when, and where you need it. Because at FW Web, they believe relationships, trust, and dependable service matter. FW Web, where every customer counts.
Hoy, you said Hunter Henry, that stadium was loud because I was in that stadium
Yeah.
as well, and I was loud. But after that strip sack on Herbert, I think that was the loudest that I've heard Gillette in a long time.
It's awesome. No, I mean, it was a great atmosphere. I think for me, and when I came in, that was just the expectation.
Yeah.
Of course they're going to host home playoff games. Of course they're going to go to Super Bowls. And I felt there was just this excitement in the air because it had been a lull, right?
Maybe like reinvigorated the fan base a little
it had
bit.
been, and I did find it kind of ironic that the last home playoff game here, Vrabel won, but he was on the other sideline.
Yeah.
And Logan Ryan was there with Danny Amendola. Dola's dropping F-bombs, telling people to stand the up. It was just a different environment. It really was. And it was such a cool moment to see. And when because you kind of felt when Hunter scored like that's game. Like when is someone going to break this?
Kind of like
open?
the Super Bowl in 18.
Exactly. Like you didn't need much. You just needed that one score. And it was such a cool moment to see because it was a battle. It really was. And they withstood it longer and they went and executed longer. And to realize they're going to host another playoff game here this Sunday from where they were last year, I think that was a full circle moment.
Yeah.
David, Sunday night, they kind of got after Drake a bit.
Yeah.
It wasn't the offensive line's best game, Will Campbell involved, but just what were your thoughts on Sunday's action?
Yeah, look, they definitely struggled at times. I thought Wilson struggled definitely some. That's kind of his first live bullets in, 2 or 3 weeks, whatever it's been. Will struggled at some areas. There was one earlier. I really could have counted him for really 2 that I'm thinking of sacks. There was one on the first drive that kind of ended the drive where he's got a chip off Khalil Mack. And we talked about this earlier in the year, right? Like, you got to eat up the space off the chip. I believe it was with Crosby and or Garrett. It was Garrett because then they took the shot and he did a good job. You got to eat up the space on the chip. When a defensive lineman gets chipped and is able to restart his rush, well, now that chip does nothing. And so there was a few I watched Will where, and look, we always say on the O-line, the interior, the guards and centers are responsible for the depth. And that means like not getting pushed back, allowing the quarterback to go up. The tackles are responsible for the width. And there's a lot that goes into that, and your set changes with what the defense presents you. Where's your linebacker that could be your responsible floor in the blitz? Do you have center help or not? Because if you have center help, you have to worry less about games because you got an extra guy in the slide. Is the defensive tackle, is he wide on you or is he inside of you? Because that can limit how they do games. So there was just a few, and we talk about a junction point, right? And what that means is that if you drew a line from where the D end is to the quarterback or where he's trying to go, there's going to be a line on that. This is some geometry for you. They teach you geometry at Colgate?
Oh, yeah.
So there's a line, there's an intersecting line of his angle and your angle and where you guys want to meet at that. And there's just a few where I watch Will, not get to that junction point and he drifts back and more vertical in his set and he doesn't create any width. So then when you deal with a bull rush, now you've got less ground. You're right on top of the quarterback. And there was a few of those that I saw, where he did some of that stuff. Look, I think with this team, I've seen guys get better at each position each week. And so for me, this is a great test. You had to deal with Khalil Mack, who I would say is probably a first ballot Hall of Famer, right? And now you're getting to see 2 really good ones in Hunter and Will Anderson. So
Will Anderson is an animal.
He's
first team All-Pro.
Really good. I mean, they got 2 really, really good ones. And, and they present different challenges, long, length, different things like that. And look, there was some on his punches, Will in particular, where he didn't punch. And if you don't punch and you're not 345 pounds and you catch guys, that's a bad recipe. And to me, that that's not arm length because there's reps where he punches guys and he does fine. So really that's where you got to do. You got to bring your physicality with your punch, and that's really just redirecting their angle. Then you can run them by. But when you kind of drift back, open your hips, which he did a little bit, you're becoming weak. You're opening the gate, and it creates these short corners, which that happened on the strip sack toward the end zone. And then the other one with Khalil Mack, same thing. You kind of open the gate, gets pushed in. Drake has to step up. They fall over on a late TE on the right side, and that's what happens. So, look, it's going to be a big challenge. I really think they did a good job in the run game. They rushed, like I said, for 4.0 yards carry, something like that, and Mondre had 5.3. So that stuff against a defense like this, body blows, dude. It's the body blows that you can do on guys, and it helps you out in the pass rush.
Drake, some of those longer runs, they actually had 5.0 yards per carry.
I was saying if you took Drake out, because I think Mondre had like 5.3.
Yeah, he did, and Travion was 3 on flat.
Was it 3 flat? I thought it was like 3.5.
3 flat.
But, so I think, what does that average? About 4? Do the math, scholar boy.
It's about 4.125.
Thank you, Sarah. How'd you know that? Did you hear her say that? You heard her say 4.25.
No, I'm pretty good at math.
Oh, they teach you that at Colgate.
Yeah, not Georgia.
Well, divisional round. Should have had a bye because there should be 2 byes, but we're not going to talk about that.
That's your philosophy, yep.
But got the Texans coming in. Look, I think this is going to be an awesome matchup. I really do. And to me, you're getting to see, right, because if we think Denver wins, would you say that was the number 3 defense?
I don't know statistically speaking, but all I know is right now you've won this game, and I the way I look at, and we did our brackets, right? The way I had it ending up is the Patriots playing Seattle in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And the way it's going now, okay, you're going to play the Houston Texans this week. If you win, which I do think the Patriots can win, if the Bills can't upset Denver, you will play at Denver against probably another top 3 defense. And if you win that game, and I think it plays out in the NFC how it's going to play out, you then go play Seattle in the Super Bowl. You are going to play the top 3 defenses, in my opinion, in the NFL over the next 4 weeks, which is going to be, look, if that all goes down that way and they win the Super Bowl with that, you can throw the schedule naysayers out. I mean, they are going to go through the gauntlet here over the next 4 weeks if they can continue to move on.
Yeah, and now look, I think after Monday night, you see the recipe with the Texans.
Yeah.
I would say the number 1 key is don't give them the ball.
Yeah.
Turnovers, defensive touchdowns. And look, that even means turnovers that aren't necessarily defensive touchdowns.
No, because if it sets up score,
exactly.
It's you giving up your possession and giving them an extra one, which we saw C.J. Stroud turn the ball over. Like, don't give him more opportunities. No. Let him give you the opportunities, and don't give him the ball. There's a great saying that it sounds corny. End every drive with a kick.
Yeah.
I really believe if the Patriots offense ends every drive with a kick, whether that be a punt, a field goal, or extra point, I think you win this game. Because after seeing the ferociousness and the speed and the scheme that the Patriots defense came up with and played with on Sunday night, I think that they'll take it to the Texans offense. It's just about it's going to be who protects the ball better.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. When you look, you see 30-6. Well, 14 of those points are on the defensive side of the ball. Right. So you're really talking about that's 16-6.
Yeah.
And so that, to me, is the recipe right there. It's laid out in front of you. And look, things change week to week. Obviously, Texans offense might come in here and play really well.
Yeah.
But to me, it's not giving them anything, especially when you're on offense and they're on defense. And look, that's harder to say than it, or it's harder to do than it is to say. I mean, when you got these 2 D ends, Collins inside, it's a great defense. We showed the stats earlier. So you got to be efficient with the ball and smart with the ball, and understanding, like you said, sometimes the best result is a punt.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And we were talking before, the way I kind of look at this game, and we had Josh in here and we asked him what his favorite game was, and he talked about that Seattle Super Bowl. I kind of see the similarities of the type of game plan that he's going to have to develop, and then the players are going to have to go execute. He talked about it. They're going to get pressure on you, even if it's just that front four. And so when he calls a play, you have to know the intent of that play, see what the defense is doing, and get the ball out of your hands. I think that's early on, that's got to be the plan against this defense. First of all, run the football. That'll be the one way to slow them down. And secondly, when you call those short to intermediate pass plays, Drake has to understand it's got to be 1, 2, 3, read somebody, ball out. 1, 2, 3, read somebody, ball out. He can't hold the football in quick game again this week. He was able to get away with it a few times last week. It's going to be a very fine target that they have to hit, especially early in the game, to make sure that that defense doesn't just build and build and build. I think if you go out there and you can run the football, you get the ball to your hands, maybe when one of those guys takes a break, kind of like what they did against the Browns defense, Myles Garrett's not in the game, they take a shot. If Hunter or Anderson's not in the game, okay, there's a little box that Josh has. Maybe he goes to that, right? So it's going to have to be very methodical. And then defensively, I think you just play with your hair on fire again. I think it's proven. He gets some pressure on Stroud. He can make some bad decisions. That's got to be the recipe for the win. And then how about special teams? I mean, maybe time for a Marcus Jones to have a big return.
We were close this week to having a big
They were.
Yeah. I can say we. I played there.
No, we're going to get – so did I, but I'm not on the team.
Say we.
No.
Everyone's allowed to say we.
No, we'll get to that.
Schooler, whatever it may be, blocked punt, field goal, kick return of some sort.
Yep.
Can be special, and we've got some special players on that side of the ball. But I'm looking forward to the matchup again. To me, it's so awesome.
And a lot of familiar faces coming back.
Yeah, you got Nick Caley coming back. Nick Caserio coming back. Jake Andrews, their center, was here with me.
Wearing number 60, I think is that an O2
number.
maybe? Andrews, 60?
That's my long-lost cousin. You know how it is in
Jerry
Alabama.
Shaplinski, one of my favorite coaches
snaps,
here.
Though, David, the other day. I don't know if you want to relate to him. He had some bad snaps. I don't know if you want to relate to 60 Andrews on the Texans.
You were holding back some coaching information, like you didn't tell him how to snap the ball.
I'm not going to let everybody know how to do it. You don't let too
Maybe
many
get
people.
a few of those this week.
But, yeah, you got a lot of familiar faces.
And Josh's brother, Ben McDaniels, is a coach over there, so little family ties as well. But that probably brings us to our legendary moment presented by Miller Lite. Legendary stories start with the light. Here's to 50 years of Miller time, and this is going to go back to your rookie year. Second year, 2016, the divisional round against the Houston Texans. So why don't you take us inside this game?
Yeah, very interesting game. The score doesn't really dictate how well we did.
Okay.
Offensively, we struggled. This defense was loaded. You had Whitney Merciless, Clowney, J.J. Watt, Cushing, Will Fork. We struggled offensively some. Deion Lewis had a huge kickoff return for a touchdown. We gave up a lot of sacks. I know I doubled. You see Tom threw 2 interceptions. I doubled my sack total of the year in one game. But a couple of interesting nuggets from this game that I remember. One, Bill coming in the locker room after the game, right? We're going to the AFC Championship. Definitely down, especially up front. We got our tails handed to us a little bit. But I'll never forget Bill walks in and he goes, if we play like that next week, we'll watch it from the couch, and walked out. I was like, oh, man. But then I'll never forget Dante comes up to me. And I guess they had talked about doing good cop, bad cop, and Dante comes up to me and he knew I was down. And look, that Monday with Dante wasn't going to be good, but he told me something and it didn't come true until later in my career. He goes, David, never take for granted winning in this league. He goes, you don't know how hard it is.
Right.
And he goes, be proud of what happened tonight. You won, and we'll fix it this week. And I don't know, it was one of those moments where I was like, well, I'm not that proud because you're going to dog cuss me tomorrow. You know what I mean? But it was one of those times, it's something I need to hear, and it helped me kind of put it into perspective a little bit. And look, whatever happened at work, because we went out there a week later and beat the brakes off the Steelers. So, a lot of history with this Texans team.
You think they'll roll up in here in some varsity jackets this weekend?
I hope so. That was cheap.
I was on the other end of this matchup once in 2015 when I was playing for the Texans, and that did not go well for the Texans that day either.
No, I was like Monday night or Sunday night.
It was a Sunday night football, and I'll tell you, I always give Ninko a hard time because I got concussed that game. We couldn't block Ninkovich. We couldn't block Akeem Hicks. We couldn't block Jabal Sheard. I mean, it was just, and they just doubled Hopkins the whole time. So hopefully a Patriots performance like that, hopefully a performance, maybe not with the mistakes, but a win. Like you said, it doesn't matter. You just got to win.
That's all that matters.
Yeah, and as you said, a game like that propelled you to that AFC Championship where you beat the brakes off the Steelers.
And it felt like a perfect gate. Like we just were clicking on all cylinders. So
maybe the Patriots will feel like that after beating the Chargers and take it to the Texans.
I hope so. I'm looking forward to it. Miller Lite just isn't any light beer. It's the original light beer. And when Miller Lite arrived 50 years ago, time became Miller time. And fun nights became stories worth telling. Miller Lite, celebrating 5 decades of legendary moments. Because legendary stories start with a light.
Score prediction?
I'm going to go 24-17.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I'll go, for that sake, I'll go 24-14.
27 us, we, the Pats, 13 Texans.
All right, can we get into this So
I don't really care about it. I think it's funny.
I know. I just like to give Danny a hard time. I mean, when I was a kid, I think I referenced the Browns as we.
Look at Danny. What is he wearing back there?
I know.
Today?
Well, yeah, Zolak nailed it. I'm a Chad. We had a big interview, which we're about to tease.
We did. I don't know if our little pins maybe give it away. RKK, Mr. Kraft, owner of the New England Patriots. I think you guys are really going to enjoy this one. Especially, I thought it was so cool. We got to be there in person with them in his suite. And just after a playoff win. I mean, with the things that he's built this organization up, right? From 1994 to where it is now. I know you mentioned it in first 20 years or whatever, 10 Super Bowl appearances.
I mean, yeah, it's basically, if you kind of do the math from his ownership to 18.
Yeah.
2018, the last Super Bowl. The Patriots were in the Super Bowl every other year.
Right.
Not obviously by numbers, but breaking it up.
On
average. Yeah.
And I always felt, I tell him in the interview, I played for 9 different organizations. I've always felt like this is a special place. It's why I've made my home here. And it's been great to see them deal with some of those down years. And obviously he had to have that leadership role and make some tough decisions. And I felt like it had to be so gratifying to sit there Sunday night and watch his team win a home playoff game, because that's what he wanted to get back to.
And I think it's cool. It was a year and a day from Vrabel's introductory press conference where he set out the 3 goals that we've talked about. And, you just marked off the second part of the goal and you're on your way to do the third part of it. So great interview. We hope y'all enjoy it.
And one thing too, after the interview, after we stopped and the cameras were off, I will say that the fans won't see this, is just the way he expressed his gratitude to you guys. He probably does this on camera a lot, but it's not BS. He truly loves you guys, which was an ode to you guys, but it was cool to see as a fan too.
No, he's a unique owner. And David, that was the only owner that you ever experienced and were around, but he truly is special. And I honestly believe, in my experience in the NFL, it starts at the top. It has to start at the top. And if you have a great owner, you have a chance of having a great organization. And he has built the Patriots into the ultimate organization.
Yeah. Well, boy, this is pretty special for me. I think for you, playing here, Mr. Kraft, for 10 years.
RKK,
yes,
come on.
My bad. Playing here for 10 years. The relationship you have, with me, but also all your players. It's pretty special for us to sit down here and interview you, especially at a time like this, coming off a playoff win.
Well, you guys are both special. I'm living my dream, owning an NFL franchise in my hometown. And I remember sitting in the stands and thinking, if I could ever own this team, what I would do. And because, hearing the fans last Sunday night, it brought back to me the early days when we started doing well, and the vibe in the stadium. And I don't know if you guys could sense it or feel it the way I did Sunday night, but the crowd was a real asset to the team, but also the feelings. And I think part of it is, what's happened to the franchise the last 3-4 years compared to the 2 decades previous. So it's pretty cool to be back.
Yeah, I mean, look, for me, this is such an honor to be here with you because this is where I started my journey in the NFL. And I played for 9 different organizations. I was here 3 separate stints. 9. And, you know, the thing that, so I interacted with a lot of owners, but the one thing that always stood out to me about you was how you cared for everyone in the organization from the top down, treated everybody like family. We'd see you down there in the locker room, out at practice. You'd ask, how's your wife? How's your sweetheart? You know, that you would do.
Sweetheart.
And I remember when I left to go to the Colts in 2019, you know, it's frantic. I get a call, it says Gillette Stadium. And it was you wishing me the best of luck. And that meant so much to me. I'll always carry that with me. Is that something, when you talk about, you sat in the stands and thought, if I ever owned this team, I would do it this way. Is that something that you went into it with? Or when you got here, you realized, I want to create this family environment?
We try, look, all of our companies are private. And, you know, we control them all. So how I was a middle child, so maybe you work a little harder at how you differentiate and, you know, do well.
Yeah.
And, you know, for us, the key thing in any of our businesses is the culture that's created. Look, everyone wants to make a paycheck. Everyone wants to do well financially. But I think just as important, they want to feel they're connected to something bigger than themselves. And so we try to create that family environment in all our businesses. This, you know, look, I went to school on scholarship. I didn't have a car until I was 25. God's been good to me. And once you make enough to pay your bills, you want to spend your time doing things that you love. Well, I've been so fortunate to be able to own this franchise in my hometown and live my dream and do what I wanted. So I love, when I drive in here every day, I pinch myself. And I want everyone working here to feel the same way. And I'll tell you, when we owned the stadium before we bought the team, you know, we try to train the people who work security, the people who serve refreshments or concessions. This is the Kraft family home, and you treat people with respect. We want people to come back and feel this is an opportunity. When people come to events at this stadium, it's an escape from their life. And, you know, and so we want everyone to feel that. I know I feel it. I'm so privileged to be in this position. And I'll tell you, the NFL is the greatest business. Every year at Thanksgiving, I try to speak to, and I say, you guys don't understand how lucky you are, and I just want you to think about it. You're getting paid to do something you love. Don't take it for granted. It's like having good parents. You know, you have to appreciate and respect it.
Yeah, I mean, I think you talked about taking pride in this building, right? And I think that's something a lot of the teams I was on, we had a lot of guys that love what they got to do with playing football, but we took a lot of pride in everything that we did here, wearing the logo. You know, it's very apparent, though, from the time you came into this organization, right, the number one thing was winning. We were going to try to be as good as we could be. And then number 2 was making an impact in the community, right? It's the Ron Burton Award you see right when you walk in. You know, now it's the Blue Square, you know, Alliance. What is it about the community and these causes, and why has it been such an important factor for you and your ownership?
So if you're here Sunday night and you think over 60,000 people here, every ethnicity, every skin color, every religion, they're all here rooting for the home team. How many people, how many things are there in life in this world that's so divisive now and so much hate? And yes, we started this Blue Square Alliance to try to combat that and educate people while they have to, the feeling they have in this stadium when they come together to root for the home team is what we have to expand to other areas.
Yeah.
But it really only happens with sports, and especially the NFL, and music. Those are the two things that bring people together. And, you know, for me, when we bought the team, we were the first team to put in contracts that the players had to do 10 community appearances for non-financial return. And that was important to us, but I think also for players, it got you into the community and touching people, and for young men who maybe haven't been exposed to things, how their celebrity playing for this team brought what I call psychic income. It made people feel better. And I think it made the players themselves who were doing it, because they might not have done it otherwise. And so it's just a privilege of being in this business.
No, you did a tremendous job. And I remember coming in volunteerism, and whether it was going to visit children at Boston Children's or hand out turkeys, or one of the ones that David and I have been excited to do recently, your wife, Dr. Dana Kraft, with the Patriots. We've gone down here and we got a little package from your dog Heisman the other day, and excited about that. So
the Patriots.
Oh, I love that event.
You know what? And what that's doing is any funding that comes in through it is going to dog adoption. And we hope, 22 veterans commit suicide every day.
Yeah.
It shocked me. So we can hopefully develop a program, and some people are doing it already, where these dogs can play a role as service dogs. But I know what Heisman does for us, and how he makes our life richer, and how he brings us joy.
Yeah.
And I think, especially with social media in the country today, it's isolated people, and they don't feel connection and feel that warmth. And I've found dogs are unbelievable and play a great role in fighting anxiety, depression, and many other situations. So let's go Patriots.
Let's go Patriots. Yeah, it's one of our things that we've
You
really
like the
enjoyed getting to do.
bandana?
Oh,
the
yeah, I'm
look?
trying to get the photo shoot of my dogs wearing them, but I can't get them to sit still.
I don't know who doesn't cooperate more, my kids or dogs sometimes for
That's right.
photos.
We got license plates too of the
Yep.
Patriots.
Yeah.
Patriots.
I love it. So, no, you've talked about leading the right way, establishing the culture, getting people to feel like they're a part of something. And like I said, 9 different organizations, and this one was the one that really did that, and I appreciate that. But also having that responsibility and having to make tough decisions, that's been your role, and you had to do that after a great run, and you made tough decisions, whether that was when Tom left or Bill left, and then we all love Gerard. But to make that decision, how gratifying was it for you Saturday night sitting here watching your team host a home playoff game, a hard-fought game? You mentioned the crowd. I was sitting in the box next to you. You could feel it shaking. Like, talk about the responsibility of obviously building the franchise and then having to see it through that transition, and how hard it was, and now how gratifying.
Well, the one thing that I and my family understand, that we own this team, but it's not like a traditional business. I look at our family as custodians of a public asset, and I'm very fond of Gerard. And that, I would say that was one of the 1 or 2 hardest decisions, because to fire a guy after 1 year, and by the way, it was very expensive, because there were not only his contract, but 25 other coaches. It's the worst financial implications since we've owned the team. But I'm a fan first, and I thought, this just isn't the right situation, and that's on me. And Gerard's a great guy, but I just didn't want to go through a continuation of what happened. And I really believe that, hiring Mike gave us a chance quickly to put the team where it was, to go from 4-13 to, we're now 15-4.
Yeah.
And my man Stacy told me, if we, by some good fortune, we're privileged to win this Sunday, we will have won as many games this year as we won the last 3 years.
Yeah.
So I thank the Lord, and I really hope we can do business Sunday. Nothing would make me happier.
I'm sure.
Well, I think we're all excited for Sunday, but you've had such an amazing career as an owner. I mean, 6 Super Bowls. We talked about 10 Super Bowls in 25 years, right? We were saying. At this point, what is it that keeps you going? What is it, the drive, to get the team back to success?
After my family, seeing what it means in the community and wherever I go. I went to a restaurant that I've never gone to. A buddy of mine said, come have dinner with me. I was solo, and all the waiters in this restaurant came over to me and thanked me. They said, you don't understand the vibe it's created, not just in our building, but in our families and everything. Having the Patriots back, having something that we can rally around that's real and that gives me special energy every day. And hearing the fans and their appreciation puts a great responsibility on my family to do whatever we can do to put us in the position to win.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I always said, if our country could spend a year in an NFL locker room, in an NFL organization, and see how you embrace one another's differences and you come together and you have this common bond, and you get to see it with 60,000 people here on Sunday night, it's incredible. The last thing I want to ask you about, because obviously this is my position and we have a special one playing for the Patriots now, is Drake Maye. What has it been for you? You watch Tommy for all those years and he moves on, he's retired, and now here comes this kid. And I've just been, obviously the stuff on field is great, but when you see him off the field and the way he handles himself at 23 years old, how special has that been for you to be able to see his performance and his leadership and just on Sunday night just waver and never waver and handle the adversity and come back with that beautiful touchdown?
He's a terrific young man, but the greatest quality of him, in at least my feelings, is his humility. Mm-hmm. And I think that comes from his parents and the family. He's got 3 older brothers who are good, so usually the baby in the family's a little spoiled. But he has a humility that's genuine, and so it's like putting family first, it's putting team first. Anyone who's solid and has had the privilege of good family understands what this is. And you guys know, if you want to win, everybody's got to put team first, not just in words, but in actions. Mm-hmm. And, and if you do that and everyone can control their ego and do that, then good things can happen. I'll tell you something about him that I really liked in his rookie year. And we had so many tough games, and I don't know, he only played, I guess, 2/3 of the game.
Yes, sir.
But after every game, he would go around the locker room to the linemen and try to boost them up, and it was genuine. Mm-hmm. So we're really lucky, I think, because some of these young men in that position, especially this social media, people get so caught up with that, they forget what the basic fundamentals of how you build family, how you build a business, how you build relationships is the real stuff, and not the quickie.
Yep. Yeah, you can see that with this team. There's no doubt about it. We've said it all along. It's a special team, It's trickle down from the head coach, the quarterback, but they play for one another, which reminds us a lot of the teams that we played for.
Well, Mr. Kraft, we appreciate you.
RKK.
I know, Mr. RKK. I almost did it again.
Well, knocked our third person off of the Mount Rushmore of the Patriots organization. We've had the starting quarterback. We've had the head coach. Now we got the head man, Robert Kraft, RKK. I think you guys hopefully enjoyed that. Get to see a little perspective from him and how grateful he is to be in that position.
Yeah, it's awesome. But more importantly, Danny, let's put that winner's bracket up of your boy.
Are you in the lead right now for the
I sure am. I mean,
how can you be in the lead? It only matters who
Hoyer on
wins.
Saturday night during the Bears game while the Bears are down is like, oh, my bracket's amazing.
Dude, I honestly I thought that's how they had to go.
Why don't we start with that first game quickly with the Rams and Panthers? The Panthers put up a pretty good fight.
I was impressed.
I was.
I'll just say this real quick. I tweeted this. The NFL play, like the Patriots game, was the largest margin of victory. We had the Steelers last night. I forgot about that.
Yeah, before that.
Yeah, before that. Like, the NFL playoffs, to me, are just the best.
There's nothing better. There really isn't. I mean, that was the one team, though, I did think, because you remember L.A. went out to Carolina and lost earlier in the year, and the way it started off, I was like, this is...
I do, too.
And then Carolina battled their butts off.
They're resilient. I've been really impressed with Bryce Young.
Yeah. Especially with everything he's endured.
Exactly.
His career, being benched, coming back.
Exactly.
So.
I think they picked up his fifth-year option today. So
I would too.
That was cool. It was an entertaining game.
Stafford didn't play great. I wish they did MVP voting after the playoffs.
But he did deliver in the clutch, dude. That throw to it was a Parkinson.
Yeah, our guy didn't play great either.
I know.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's not like Drake went off for 500 yards and 7 touchdowns.
Yeah.
No, you're right. That's fair. All right. Well, the Saturday night game before Hoy got excited while the Bears were down.
Did I have reason to be excited? I mean, they were up big.
Yeah,
I think
25 points in the fourth quarter.
I
they
think
were down 18.
One thing about this Bears thing, and I don't know if y'all saw it, Ben Johnson showed the 28-3 Super Bowl to the team earlier in the year. And what's interesting about it is he's got Grady Jarrett, who, if the Falcons won, probably should have been the MVP.
Yeah,
Dude was a game wrecker. And then obviously Joe Tooney on the other side, and had them get up and kind of talk about their two perspectives.
That's pretty cool.
Which I thought was pretty cool. And then you see a game like this. They are fighting. They're fun to watch.
You know why they won? Because of Tooney. This guy just doesn't lose. He's the GOAT.
X Factor.
Well, moving on to Sunday, Josh Allen was kind of Superman.
Playoff Josh Allen,
banged
right?
up, and he played unbelievable.
Playoff Josh
I'm a hater. I'm a hater.
I know you're a hater.
But I will say this. That was one of the gutsiest, toughest performances.
Dude, I don't know how his leg didn't snap in half on that one touchdown. Dude. It was incredible.
I'm pumped, though, that the Bills won because that gives us the chance to make
I think they can beat I really do believe that they can beat the Broncos.
Hey, what did you guys think?
Favorites.
What did you think about that reporter?
They're favorites?
Yeah, the Broncos are underdogs.
What?
Yeah, I can double check this.
Okay.
What did you think about that reporter to Liam Cohen after
I thought
the
it
game?
was sweet.
Yeah, like I don't. Why are people so up in arms?
People want to be
nice.
angry about it. Like, just relax, okay? I thought it was really sweet.
I thought it was nice.
It was
what's
nice.
wrong with being nice?
Sorry, the Bills are plus 1.5, so they're.
I don't know what
that
that
line
means.
moved, but they're not favorites. But I think they win that game. I think people were mad that it took away from other journalists asking questions, but
It was 30 seconds. Like, he's not going to stay for an extra 30 seconds and take another question.
I thought it was great.
Yeah.
All right.
We need more of that. We need less criticism and more of building people up.
I would like to see you guys at a post-game presser asking Vrabel some questions.
I'd ask him, why is he faking bleeding? That was barely any.
Dude, how about our boy Jimbo over there?
Jimbo
wiping?
was like,
come on,
"Here,
Jimbo. Jim
Mike,
Whalen.
Mike, let me please help
Let me just
you.
dab your lip right there.
Get out of here, Jim. I love Jim.
I love Jim, too.
4 o'clock window, though, right before the Pats kicked off, the Niners took out the Eagles, which I was pumped to see. Everyone in Patriots place was just, like, cheering for
That
the
was
Niners.
cool.
It was awesome.
Yeah, that was cool.
To me, like, and I know I picked the Eagles just because I thought they were so talented, and they've had a weird year, right? You're defending champs. People expect a lot out of you, and it hasn't been great. But I thought maybe they would pull together. I thought they just pulled apart.
Dude,
I mean,
there's something.
A.J. Brown's fighting with Sirianni on the field.
Going on there. And look, we all know, like, throughout the year, there's a lot of ups and downs, and there's a lot of tension, right? You've got a lot of competitive people locked in small rooms together for 6 months a year. Like, there's going to be tension.
Right.
But we talk about you're just sometimes able to put that aside. There's something more going on than just normal tension with that organization right now. And but Kyle Shanahan, I mean, I know everyone talks about him, but he's done an unreal job. And losing Kittle, like, it's impressive.
Can we talk about this, like
the power plant?
I remember when I played there, seeing that there.
Hey, you know who else's career ended there? Thanks, guys. You guys really care about me. Me, assholes.
Oh, yeah.
You have to be around it longer than a day.
I was there.
There might be some truth to that.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it.
I also we saw this earlier. Like each week they got to sacrifice someone to keep McCaffrey healthy. Like maybe that's the factor. Like, sorry, George, the offense goes through CMC. Like you're going to be the sacrificial lamb. I mean, unfortunately they're going to run into the freaking buzzsaw that is Seattle up in Seattle on Saturday night this week. But Kyle's done a tremendous job of like really just taking a batch of guys and just playing harder. I thought they just out-efforted
100%.
the Eagles. Like Saleh, high-energy guy. That defense was flying around. They were on their third Mike linebacker. I think Kendricks came in after they lost Tatum Bethune, who had replaced Fred Warner. Now Fred Warner's like on the verge of coming back.
I thought Kyle Hamshan said he doesn't think he'll be back this week.
Yeah, but they said if he'd make it to the next week, they think that he could be back, which would be a miraculous recovery.
Unreal.
The NFC is pretty much like an NFC West bracket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, I have some breaking news for you guys before the Monday Night Football game.
We got a coach hiring?
We have a stepped-down coach. Mike Tomlin is stepping down after 19 seasons from the Pittsburgh Steelers.
That's, I mean...
He's going to be a hot...
I was about to say, it's like Harbaugh on him that got to be neck and neck.
What if they just, like, swapped places?
I think it's reported that he's going to go into media.
Oh, okay. He'll be great at that.
He would be great at it.
He'll be great at media. I've always said this, like my first experience not in New England was in Pittsburgh, albeit 3 short weeks. And I was like, man, this guy's pretty cool. Like it was very different than Bill, but he was obviously very successful. Went to the playoffs or winning season, I think all 19 years.
Yeah, he had a winning. He's never had under 500. So.
It's, who knows how that happened if he decided if they were like, hey, we need to move on.
Could just be time.
Yeah. But it is one of those things. That's a hard position. You talk about Mr. Kraft making decisions.
Yeah.
That's a hard thing because you're always with Mike and that team. You always have a shot. You're always relevant.
Yep.
But you're just not living up to what they, expectation.
Yeah.
And that's where it gets hard too because drafting a quarterback, when you're good, not good. I mean, but when you're winning
not drafting high
9 to 10 games a year, you're not drafting high. So it becomes hard. So, but yeah, that's wild.
It's their 4th coach that they'll hire in franchise history.
Yeah, like in 80 years or something, right?
That's wild.
It's wild.
Yeah.
All right, that rounds out the games, but I mean, it's a fun divisional round. We have some good games.
Yeah.
Saturday window's good. You start with
No, this weekend is going to be awesome. Are you kidding me? I can't wait to see all of these games. They should all, like David said, the fact that up until Monday night, the Patriots game was the biggest margin of victory. Like that's what playoff football should be.
Yeah. So it would really be interesting. Like you said, Danny, it's basically just the NFC West playoff bracket here, but it'll be fun. I worry that can Josh Allen keep up? Is it just like going to be too much for him eventually? But
especially against that defense too.
I will say I don't have the Bills making it, but I like your bracket has ending their season here and putting Brian Song out of his misery would be the best thing ever.
I don't think we'd ever get invited to OS again.
Yeah.
Last question. Would you rather the Bills win and we play the Bills at home, or would you rather go to Denver?
Yeah, I'd rather play the Bills at home. Just not even just for like the advantage, but just like what that would. Do you know how crazy that would be to play the Bills here in the AFC Championship game?
I know. We say that Kansas City is our favorite, but I think that's just a different thing. Winning an AFC Championship at home is awesome,
and if you beat the Bills,
like it's awesome. So
give me the Bills.
I agree. All right. That's a wrap. Hopefully, we're sitting back here again talking about an AFC Championship appearance next week. Check us out, NBC Sports Boston, Wednesday nights at 6 p.m. Anywhere else you find your podcast, go Pats.
Hopefully, we're not getting kicked this week from the Celtics. Are we, Sarah?
No, but Sarah has some cookies for you guys.
I already ate mine, but Sarah did make... Oh, there's more?
There's more cookies. Oh, nice. There's more cookies.
It's like Christmas morning hiding.
Yeah, Sarah made the and Michael May, which you guys checked out, the Bakemas episode, I hope, with Dave Portnoy. I will be on there this week, right?
His next episode, David.
All right.
Sunday at 10?
Yeah, it'll be Sunday morning. We don't know the time.
Can't wait.
So we should just call these victory cookies, huh?
Victory.
Victory cookies. But yeah, check out my episode of Beyond Bakemas, and we'll see y'all next week.